Good morning, everybody. It's 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda, and I am drinking hot water and cinnamon this morning. How are you doing, Jessica?
I'm fantastic. So happy to be here, Shanda.
I'm so happy that you're here with us. So everyone, I think this is going to be a highly motivating Coffee with Shanda for a couple reasons. You know when you set a goal and you don't hit it, or how many times you've set goals in your life and you've just disappointed yourself because either you haven't followed through or something's happened in your life that's prevented you from following through, and you're sitting in a place of going, so often we set goals and we don't hit them, or we set New Year's resolutions and we don't hit them, or we say that, the holy journal. I used to love the journal. I'd write in the journal forever and then I'd feel empowered and strong, like I was going to go out there and conquer the world. And then that journal would go in my drawer and I would forget about what I wrote and that emotion would go away and then I wouldn't hit my results. So what I love about you, Jessica, is you are a PACE Club client of ours. And you've been able to create incredible results in a short period of time. And so I want to get into how you did that, but let's share a little bit about who you are, what your business is, and then we'll get into the details about how you had this explosion.
Great. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be able to share this with your audience and hope that it supports someone. So my name is Jessica Perez-Beebe, like you said, and I really take a stand for people creating a major transformation in any area of their life. So regardless of where they've come from or where they are now. And I've done that in my own life over and over and over again. And the way that I really teach my clients that, and the way that I incorporate it in my life, is I really kind of marry manifesting and mindset with just a practical approach to goal setting. And, for over a decade, I was in the fitness industry. And I think a lot of it comes from that, like the really, setting the big goal and then working backwards to get it. And so mindset, of course, as you know, plays a big part in that because it's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to focus on the gap and what you haven't accomplished yet. It's easy to get pulled in different directions if you're not really focused. So, I've been able to do that.
Sorry, just for everybody to know, I have my little toddler sitting next to me eating banana and almond butter, and he's being very good, but he could pop in.
The more the merrier.
I know, it's the beauty of actually having home businesses. Like, who would have thought? I remember just wanting to make $5,000 a month, and that was going to be a huge breakthrough for me in my life. And who would have thought I would have a multiple 7-figure, going into 8-figure company, and I could, one of my old clients, Sage Levine, who I helped go to 1.5 million in a really short period of time. She was over last night because she's in town in San Diego. She's like, "Do you still run your business from like your living room?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I literally still run this incredible business. I mean, we have 15 employees and all of that, but it's like I still run it from my living room, and it's kind of a blessing, even though we are going into an office, which I'm actually excited about. We're buying a building, hopefully at the end of the year, but we're looking right now. But it's like nothing has to be perfect to be able to create the result that you want. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, so basically you help people back into their visions and their dreams, and because of your background as, a fitness professional, and you competed in fitness, didn't you?
Correct. Yes.
So I'm sure you learned a lot about discipline, mindset, how to set a goal and go after it, even if you don't feel like it.
Absolutely. And really, that's what actually helped me transition into fitness and competing, right? So at one point, about 18 years ago, I got out of shape. I was smoking cigarettes. I was living like a really yeah, I know. People never believe it. I went through this period. It was my environment. But that's the thing about seeing a vision for yourself and then following through. Like, there is nothing in your life right now that prevents you from having what you want or being who you want to be. And like I said, I've done that so many times in my life. Like, that seems like a whole other person, but it was me at that time. And, one of the things that I always bring clients back to is keep the vision of who you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to experience, and pull yourself out of the gap. I think people stay so much in what they don't have, what's going wrong. And really, I mean, it's basic law of attraction. You just continue to experience what you focus on.
Well, and you have an incredible marriage as well. And I think, you know, we have a lot of men and women that watch us, but it's like, I think there are a lot of married couples. And I think that same like goal setting, the way that you approach it is powerful also in marriages or relationships as well, because it's so easy to focus on the gap and then end up being like your partner's driving you nuts. So what do you say to women or men who are in a relationship that that maybe they're in the gap, and it's like, how do you break a cycle of what you're seeing in front of you? Like, how do you break that cycle? Because it feels really real. It feels like my business is failing, or it feels like I've hit this plateau and this ceiling in my business that I can't get through, or I've, you know, been getting the same result with my husband or my wife forever, and they're just so impossible. What do you say to someone to break that cycle just in like 30 seconds?
I always bring it back to how I want to be treated and the chance and the opportunity that I want to be given in my marriage. And so, you know, I always say to people, like, do you want to be judged on what you did or didn't do yesterday? You know, the words that you use. So I just approach it from that. How do I want my husband to experience me? And so I try as best as I can to step into that space for him. Like, I think we look at our spouse. It's so easy, especially with the people closest to us. And we already go into the conversation thinking we know how it's going to be because we know that person. We know what they said yesterday, or, you know, how they responded yesterday. And so we already kind of go in preconceived. So I try, especially in the morning when I have my quiet time, to just be fresh, to clear all that. And I apply that to everything with my goals for the day, whether it's a sales goal or working with a client. It's the same for everything.
Yeah, you're fantastic. I mean, you're such a pleasure to coach, because even as you hit different ceilings in your business, you have the ability and the willingness. Like, you have the willingness to actually go, okay, I see that block, or I see that whatever it is. And, you know, you're a pleasure to coach because you actually walk what you teach. You know what I mean? That, which means that you could start anything new in your life. You could, I mean, you owned a business before you ever started this online business. It's like you could create anything out of nothing because you have the bandwidth and the mental stability to create what you want to create the way you create it. I don't want to see. I'll see that. Bring the puppy to me.
This is what happens when you work from home and have children. I had my daughter on Facebook Live with me last week.
I love it. So this is what he's showing me. He's showing me a puppy.
So cute, Zach.
Okay, thank you for showing me the puppy, baby. I'll come see you in a minute, okay?
What you're saying is so true, Shanda, and that is like the ingredient, right? Like, that's the ingredient to having the lifestyle that you want. You know this, you're living this, you teach it as well. And this is what I focus on with my clients. It's like, if I can do it, if I can get to where I am from where I came, you know, single teenage mother, growing up in poverty, and just always having a vision at different stages in my life and going after it with focus. If I can do it, anybody can.
No, they can't. But what advice do you give for someone who hasn't yet? You know what I mean? They're like, they haven't hit it yet. They're, you know, they've got no proof that they can hit it. You know, how do you take that person from that depth of focusing on what's not working to being able to?
Yeah, you're right. That is a tricky part for when you haven't had proof of it yet. And really that comes down because when I think about, you know, when I wanted to travel the world, and, you know, as in my family, we never even got on a plane or took a family vacation. It just wasn't in the cards. So I had that vision for myself, even though there wasn't any proof in my family or in the communities that I was living in. Nobody was living that lifestyle. But if you see somebody else living it, then it's possible for you. And so that's always what I said to myself. There's a way, I just don't know how yet. You know, I'm not in that environment yet.
Crazy. We're so crazy similar that way. Because I used to have Sarah Blakely, who owns Spanx. I came across her article on the cover of Forbes magazine, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, a $1 billion woman. And I wasn't even close to that point, nor did I have a dream to be a $1 billion woman at all, or a business owner. But I was like, something about it attracted me, and I went and I Googled her, and I saw an interview where she was talking about Wayne Dyer, which then, this is the power of good marketing too, and good marketing is actually being you. It's actually being who you actually are and living a really cool life behind the scenes. And what I mean by cool life behind the scenes, be in transformation in your own life and taking yourself on behind closed doors. Because I can't tell you how many people like talk the game of transformation, but then I'll say, do a VIP day, and they don't. Or I'll say, do leadership, and they don't. Or I'll say, you know what I mean? And they don't. They literally are like, I'm totally resistant. I don't feel like I should do this. And they go into that. It's like, hold up. You're standing in front of people. And when you see something that somebody should do, and you know what I mean? It's like, you can either work with clients who are weaker than you, that you can control, which eventually is going to hit the wall, right? Or you can work with powerful, driven individuals, which means you have to be that and close doors. So what I did with Sarah is I Googled her and I saw the Wayne Dyer thing, and she was like, I would sit there and read Wayne Dyer, and I knew if I changed my thoughts, I could change my life. And I just got obsessed with that. And I was like, I love Wayne Dyer. Oh my God, this girl just became real. Like, she just became just like me. And so that's when like the fire of ambition started to grow in me, where I stopped making that a lifestyle that was outside of my life. I wouldn't even allow myself to think about it, put it that way. It wasn't even in my realm of possibility. And now it's in my reality. And Sarah is actually someone that I text message. I've done business with her husband, like, what a trip. And let me just say one thing about, oh gosh, I could get in trouble for this, but I just feel like I need to say it. Psychics. Be conscious about psychics. And the reason why I say this is because, and coaches who coach you and all of these things, because when someone's influencing your mind, it can get in there. And one of the things that I was told by a psychic right before I met Sarah and Jesse was that I said, do you think ever I'll get to meet, it's kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation moment, get to like meet or work with Sarah Blakely or Joel Osteen? And she's like, no, there's no way. And she told me why there was no way and what they were doing in their lives. Like, it was anchored in a lot of truth, right? Just like you're going to meet the man of your life and then he doesn't walk in the door and you're like, oh, I failed, right? Like, and then all these self-doubts get greater and greater and greater. And so you have to manage the non-ability for as many self-doubts to come in your mind as possible. It was a week later that I literally met Jesse, and then it was like 3 months later that I was sitting in Sarah Blakely's office, right? So
we're intentional.
Yeah, and being unattached, like committed and unattached.
Absolutely.
So
if I can just say, because I love how you just said that, that's the final piece, right? So I have a 3-part video series where I teach people the like super simple how to manifest. And the third piece is about letting go of attachment to the result. So we're not responsible for how something shows up or when it shows up. That's not our work, that's God's work. And so what we get to do is hold the vision and put some action behind it and focus on the vision, not the gap. And then it's just a matter of when, not if.
And it's weird how it happens, because it's like, I met Jesse on Instagram because I posted Joe DeSena and they're really good friends. He's like, how do you know Joe? And then he just happened to be in town speaking, and that's how we met. But even like Joe DeSena, I met through Colleen, seeing her wear a Spartan shirt at a nail salon. I was like, oh, do you do those races? And then it's like, everything is connection points. And this is why, if you're not like, if I wouldn't have been doing endurance, in which I hated endurance when I started, hated it, scared to death of it. If I wouldn't have been taking myself on the resistance, meaning that I hated endurance, I was afraid of it. If I wouldn't have run towards the resistance, I wouldn't have had the connection point to meet Colleen, because Spartan races, which is an obstacle race, never would have meant anything to me. And I never would have felt compelled to comment on her shirt, which then created a great friendship with Joe and a great friendship with Colleen. Then that would have never connected with Jesse Itzler, which ended up connecting with Sarah Blakely, it goes on. It just keeps happening. But if we're not living towards our resistance, it doesn't happen, So let's talk
about you as a coach. Like, you call your clients forward when you see them in the resistance, and it's easy to follow your coaching because we see you also stepping into your resistance, So yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I love to, I don't love to share my resistance and breakdowns, but I know it's necessary, because how can I continue to have the leadership to stand in front of my powerful clients like you and have the respect and the trust when you're feeling yours to be able to coach you through that next, you know what I mean? You really have to surrender and trust your coach to go the distance, which is a choice. It's a choice, but it's also as the person living in a way that they're coaching you to actually live, if that makes sense.
It does.
So let's talk about your results in your company. So you are just really kind of not quite in the middle of PACE Club yet. We're almost at the middle of PACE Club program. We did the first 3 months, which was building an audience, becoming a major influencer, which you have become in a short period of time. You're crushing it. And then we move into selling at about month 3. And so in a short period of time, you've been able to create 6 figures or just over 6 figures. Yes. Tell them what the secret to this has been.
The secret really is everything we just said. It's the vision, following the coaching, number one. I mean, that is so key, especially when you're doing something new, right? So I had brick and mortar businesses in the past, but knew nothing about online business. And so having somebody who can coach you and support you, to me, that's key, because otherwise you're spinning your wheels, you're going the long way, you're wasting money, you're wasting time. So that has been a really big key for me. In anything I've done in life, I've always found a coach that I trust and respect and can follow, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to take
I've done exactly the same
to get, where I want to be. I mean, I don't mean everything has to be overnight, but there's a way that you can be smart about pursuing your goals and your passion. So that's one of them. And then just really having that vision and that follow through. And even when there were crickets at the end of my email, I still had my vision and I just kept going, because I knew it was a matter of when, not if. And so just putting in the work, taking deep breaths, taking walks, because it doesn't mean that resistance doesn't come up just because you're pushing it. It doesn't mean it's all easy.
True. And let me explain what crickets means for people who are not any of our clients. Crickets means that she built an audience and she built a targeted buyers list. You don't have a business if you don't have any buyers. And even though a lot of our clients don't even know what they're going to offer, some of them do. There's I would say 40% of our audience, 35 to 40% of our audience is starting a brand new business and they're actually not really sure what they're going to offer. I don't know if that was that for you, was it?
No.
You knew what you were going to offer?
Correct. I knew what I was, not necessarily what program and, how I was going to package it, but I knew what my work is. Yes.
Okay, got it. So you know what your work was, but you didn't have the product or the program created.
Correct.
So about 35, 40% don't have any clue what they're going to do. They just know that they're called to do something different. And then the rest of the group of people have a business and they've either hit a ceiling, they want to get to the next level, or they've been in a position where it's I've been making the same amount of money for a long time. I need a breakthrough and I want a breakthrough and I know there's a better plan. So when you build your audience and your buyers list, when Jessica was sending out emails to that list, it was crickets. Nobody was listening. It was okay, I just did that work and nobody's buying, nobody's reaching out, nobody's raising their hand to work with me. And she just stayed the course, which is powerful.
Stuff that can derail you. If you let it get in your mind and you're not strong in yes, everybody says mindset, but it really is true. If your mental capacity is not there and you let things like that pull you out, you can spin out easily. So that you've got to be really strong in what your vision is and really have just some faith in yourself. Believe in what you're doing.
Yeah. What do you think has been some of the most powerful coaching that you've received that have helped you keep the track to your vision?
Oh gosh, so much. I think with you in particular, you help me see when I'm in like my control tendency, right?
Hmm.
And so that helps me. That helps me because I think it's really important to have a coach that really is direct and honest
Yeah.
and is able to be honest with you because, if you're hiring someone, you want to know when you might not be seeing what's going on, right? And that's the beauty of working with other people, whether it's in a coaching situation or a group situation, not doing it by yourself
Yeah.
and not assuming that you're seeing the full circle. It really helps to have
Well,
a
and I see the community too.
yeah.
You've got some incredible people in the community that you guys help each other soar. So I appreciate the acclimates for sure. But it's like I can't take all the credit. I've created the program, the course, and laid it out, and we coach you, and you have coaches and all that type of stuff. But there's what happens at some point in Pace Club is like the community turns and starts looking in at each other and helping each other. You know what I mean? And it's one of the most beautiful things that I get to witness on a daily basis because I think it's missing in the world. Entrepreneurs don't often like, unless even in your close friendships, don't often like look up and say, "Hey, how are you doing today? How's it going? Are you making money? Are you stuck anywhere?" And I think that there's a I think it's an anointing by God, to be quite honest, on HeartCore, because when I created the name, I sat in Las Vegas, Sin City of all places. And I was like, how do we dedicate this company? It's not my brand and I don't talk about it, or I should say it's in my brand, but it's not something we talk about, which was, how do we do God's work? Like, how do we really, open up people's biggest callings and have them chase and get on that road and that path, and then hold on for dear life and allow the Lord, the God, to open it up so that spirit can take you as far as you want to go. And then my job is to make sure that I keep everything off your resistance so that you allow it to fly. Which is fear of success becomes very real once success starts kicking in. Like I remember not understanding what fear of success was, but once you start to have success, it starts to kick in. And it's like, okay, what does this mean to my personal life? What does this mean to my relationship with my family, my kids, my friends? It's kind of like what I think parents sometimes go through when they decide to have a child, right? It's like, do you want to? Yeah. Okay, come on. It's like
how's everything else going to be affected? What?
Yeah, how's my personal life going to be affected now that I have children? And what happens is that it gets better. It keeps just getting better. You get to do things like this where, can I say hi?
Hi, Zach. Love that morning face.
I know, and they smell so good. He's getting so big though. It's like
he's growing up.
I know he's sprinting up like crazy. But anyway, my point is that unleash yourself to create the results that you want, because there's a calling on your life and there's a calling on everyone's life.
And keep going.
And keep going. Don't ever stop.
Yes.
I won't get into this today, but because we're coming to the end of Coffee with Shanda. But yesterday I talked about an abundance pad. And that means that throughout the day, I write down what abundance I see. So this morning there was abundance seeing my husband go to a prayer circle at 5:30 in the morning, when my husband said to me that I don't want to do prayer. I don't want to go to church. I'm not a church guy. I'm not any of this. Now, meanwhile, he's with Steve Weatherford, the football player, at prayer circle right now. And God works in the most amazing ways, because God would not allow me to be the conduit to my husband going to a prayer circle at 5:30, but Steve was, because he wants to make a difference for Steve, and he wants to, be a good guy, and he wants to, be faithful. And, you look at all these things, you never know how things are going to come together, which I think is probably the biggest takeaway of this interview, is be open to it coming together versus resisting so much that you sabotage and block things from coming together. Hold on to the vision. Hold on to the vision, because the vision does come true if you actually pay attention to what you're resisting and walk towards that, release it, let go of it, accept it. Yes. Go do it. If you're something you're resisting doing, go do it.
opportunities that fall in front of you.
Yeah, and if you just play that, if you play the game like that and have the attitude to play the game like that, I know that things will work out for you, and I know that your vision will come true. If you are complaining about your vision not coming through, you will block it. And that happens all the time. And I can just say that you're definitely in control of letting go of control of that, if that makes any sense. If you do you have any last words that you want to share, Jessica, before we end? And I appreciate you being on Coffee with Shanda and giving.
My only last words are, if you are a new entrepreneur and you're starting out, find a community. You know, HeartCore community has been a lifesaver for me. You know, a community, a coach, somebody that can help show you the way so that you can get out of your own way and be able to move towards your vision. I think that's one of the best things anybody can do who's new in business or, you know, in the online space.
Or if you've hit a ceiling and you're not hitting the ceiling that you want, you got to find a good community. So if you're in a great community now, stay in it and go the distance. If you're looking for a community, you're always welcome to, we actually have a questionnaire in the description area of this interview. You can always go click on that, answer that application, and then we'll get back to you and see if it's a good fit and see if we can help you. And so no matter what, don't go at it alone because you're making decisions on money, time, like it's not the right time, or the money's not there. You do these things to create the time and to create the money. So we'll end on that. So this is 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda and Jessica this morning.
Thank you, Shanda.
You're welcome. And we will see you tomorrow morning on 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. All right. God bless. Say God bless. Say God bless.
Oh, goodbye.
You say goodbye. And now drink my hot water and
bye, Zach.
love babies. All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye. Have a great day.
Your cat.
What?
That is my mommy's cat.
I don't know what he's saying. He was
That
saying
is my mom.
I think he's saying that's my mommy. All right. I am going to have breakfast with my son now.
Me too. I'm going to go eat. Thank you.
All right.
That was lots of fun.